वगैरह को follow करो. How to develop the team Karnagaki towards the Vaishnava period apart from Guru. If we take them for granted. शास्त्र विधि उत्कृष्ट है जानिए like devotee parents हो बच्चा हो पता parent devotee husband and wife पता है क्या करना चाहिए.
Okay, so now we understand a very important aspect, which the Lord has brought us to, is that we know what is to be done, what is not to be done. And you will see Krishna consciousness knowledge also give a sense of satisfaction. Just the knowledge itself gives a sense of satisfaction. That is, Krishna conscious knowledge is like that. Now we see that we stand, so now the next level disease is whimsical nature. And the next level disease is whimsical nature. So this whimsical nature is the warfare ground now for us. So for a sadhaka, the ground is not being whimsical. So this is an interesting point which we have come to.
Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad that okay, पता लग जाता है Krishna exists, but we are not really service. The human life is especially भगवान का सेवा नहीं कर सकते. इसलिए हम जान रहे हैं कि भगवान even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempt starts. Why? हमको पता है करना क्या क्या है लेकिन हम नहीं करते.
So therefore, actually, Krishna consciousness, we state sometimes Krishna consciousness is not an arts movie; it's an action thriller. No, unless we act sufficiently, we are not fighting enough with the epidemic of Maya Shakti. So therefore, Prabhupada bases it on engagement. That is why a sadhaka has to keep that drive of engagement and devotional service on. Okay, what is the service for me tomorrow? Today, what I have done till now? What am I going to do before the end of the day? What is my seva tomorrow? What is my service to Krishna tomorrow? What are we going to eat? What will happen in job? That has a background. That's a background that anyways will do out of inertia. So that is not a focus. The focus should be service. The more we engage ourselves, the more we'll save ourselves from whimsical nature. That is the point, actually. So therefore, this Navavidya Bhakti engagement has to be there. That is why it is said that advancement in Krishna consciousness takes place when we take responsibilities in the mission of the Lord. So when we take responsibilities in the mission of the Lord, the responsibility is going to purify us. So what should we do? We should take more and more responsibilities in Krishna consciousness. That Krishna conscious responsibilities is what is going to purify our hearts. Like that. And that is how we are going to be saved from Maya. That's the point. So we cannot stop the steering. We have to understand that I cannot stop the steering. I cannot stop the intensity, because one day lag will create a mentality of lagging, is it not? And I don't want to, and I cannot afford that mentality. That mentality is going to be very dangerous. Just like you see a marathon runner, he will never stop and sit down, he will never stop and sit down that okay, anyways I am quite ahead, let me just relax, so he will want to go on. He'll say, okay, whatever be the case, I want to go on and on and on, because if I sit down, it is difficult to get up again, is it not? That's the point. So therefore we see that if I sit down, it's difficult to get up again, is it? Like we had seen when we had gone to Tirupati. So we were climbing the Tirumala hills, and devotees were telling that, and we were trying to figure out how long it takes. But because actually different groups were going, so our group was on a different day, so we understood, we were trying to figure out how long it takes, and the local devotees were asking. No, it was one group only, but the local devotees were asking. But then somebody says, then some devotee is telling, if you are brisk enough and if you are strong enough and focused enough, you can reach in 2 hours. And and someone was telling Radha Maharaj will cover it in 1.5 hours. And someone was telling that they took 4 hours. Somebody else took 6 hours. So we're really figuring out what is happening. So what happens actually? So what exactly is happening? So how it can vary from 1.5 hours to 6 hours, like that. So it's all about distractions, is it not? It's all about distractions. So we know when Radha Maharaj would go, then he had his bead bag, and then Radha Maharaj chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and he's walking like that only. No stopping till one reaches Tirumala. 1.5 hours, like that. So I remember then when we started. So I thought, so then we were thinking that, okay, I will also chant like that. Then some seniors told you won't be able to catch up with your breath, you'll be gasping. Then I said, so then what? Then what is how spiritual, So then this devotee brought, Hare Krishna Dhun. He said, okay, we'll put it in the pocket and we'll walk. Won't be able to speak, for that long, uphill. So that was very nice. So then at Prabhupada, Hare Krishna was giving a lot of strength, like that. But the point was that there was so the up the hill is very nice now. It's very nice. There are nice, there is a nice canopy on both the sides, like that. It's very appealing, and one just feels like one feel like sitting down, taking a click, like that. And there are some Vaishnava Bhojanale Prasad is being offered there, like that, and sometimes some devotees are taking prasad. The point is that the only mantra, so we finished it in 1 hour 51 minutes, I remember. And we reached up actually, 1 hour 51 minutes we reached up. But we saw some devotees really took 6 hours also. Because I remember when we were going down, some were coming. We were going down means after that we had gone, taken darshan of Balaji and came out. 4 hours was darshan, There's a 4 hours line. There were 2 tickets. One was like higher price, lower price. I had taken a lower price, I think. So it was 4 hours. Higher price was 2 hours, and no price means 24 hours. 24 plus 4. So anyhow, so 4 hours. So that means so 151 plus 4. So and then going back, and then we took prasad also. That Balaji, there is a prasad counter. So you can get it in half an hour. They have very, whole day, lot of prasad, lot of visitors and all that, So all that 6.5 hours, and some devotees are still coming that way. So the point is that so the only formula was that we were understanding that if we stop, like that, then again to pick up that, that spirit is difficult. So and mind it, the spirit is more important than the body, The body is tired, no problem. The spirit is tired, finished. Body tired, no problem. You can drag the body. Spirit tired, finished. Is that not? So therefore, a sadhaka has to be very much focused. My spirit should not get tired. My spirit should not get tired. So before one service completes, the next service should be on the plate. Is it not? Before one service is delivered, the demand for the next service should come. Like that. That is how we have to arrange our lives actually. Before one service completes, next service. Before one service completes, next service, next service, next service. That's the point. Is it not? This is the point. When it ends, this never has to end, because spiritual world is non-ending. This end game is spiritual material world game. Is it not? Why do you want to end it? Like that. So why do you want to end it? What do you want to do by ending it? Is it not? So that is why the engagement is very important. Now, false ego is always mode of ignorance. Huh? False ego means ignorance only. Passion leads to ignorance. That's it. Synonyms only. Yeah, synonyms. It is all synonyms actually. What's that? When one thinks low of oneself. That is also mode of ignorance. Correct. Yes, yes. False ego only. Conditioning so strongly. Yes, so the point is that material energy is doing its effect. We have to do our effect. Just like Prabhupada writes in Matchless Gift. Prabhupada is saying that, okay, if your house is next to the street, then a lot of dust will come in. So dust will keep coming in, but who has stopped dust from cleaning? Is it not? We can do cleaning. If we do all-time cleaning, our house will look spick and span. Is it not? So yes, the dust of ignorance is coming, and therefore we have to keep the engagement always on. Is it not? Therefore, we have to keep the association always on. So it may be a dust-prone area. That's fine. The Prabhupada is speaking about the Manhattan Temple, actually, New York. New York, no? Manhattan is New York. Yeah, Prabhupada is speaking about the Manhattan Temple in that book, and Prabhupada is saying just on the side of the street it is there, on the main street it is there. So therefore, a lot of dust comes, and therefore a lot of cleaning has to be done. So we keep the cleaning always on. That's the whole point. So yes, in this material world, the ignorance and passion drives are there, but just because the drives are coming, that does not that doesn't mean that we can get overwhelmed by it. That dust is coming, but then let's do the cleaning. This is fine. And let's do the cleaning. So therefore, Krishna conscious engagement is very essential. And in being engaged in Krishna service, we are protected. Yes. Yes, yes. So we fight on our individual strength, and then we stay in the association. So being in the association, our individual sincerity gets amplified. Is it not? And we catch inspiration from seeing others' dedication, like that. So in that way, in the Sangha of devotees, we fight and struggle, like that. But struggle to do what? To keep ourselves engaged. That is a problem. That is a point. Is it not? To keep oneself engaged. That okay, yes, I know how much I'm giving to preaching, to Vaishnava Seva, to menial services, to deity services. That's the point. To morning program.
अगर हम अपना गुरु आचार्य के लाइफ पे उनका स्ट्रगल देखें तो हमारा उनके प्रति डेडिकेशन बढ़ेगा उनका स्ट्रगल देख के हमको अपना स्ट्रगल
yes yes one way
matters to Guru Maharaj. This thing I speak like this, I speak like this, he will go. And he was telling him Vyas Puja. And when he entered the room, Guru Maharaj got hold of his hand. Guru Maharaj, when he understood, when my Guru is struggling so much to keep from move the Prabhupada mission, where struggle to die.
Yes, that's true.
When we see the struggle of the period, हमारा क्या struggle? हमारा शरीर ठीक है सब कुछ. हमारे Guru Maharaj
Yes.
उसके बाद तो ये थोड़े करने के लिए time नहीं.
Yes, that's true. One of the ways to keep to get inspiration also is to observe, to hear and remind ourselves of the life of acharyas or present acharyas, previous acharyas, then we get a lot of inspiration like that. So inspiration is available for us. The more we drink it, the more we take it in, the more we struggle, we will be healthy. We will be healthy. 24. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastito Natva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum E Harhasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and to engage in devotional service of the Lord and eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all Vedic literature. He has come to the conclusion perfectly. Of course, for ordinary persons who are not in Krishna consciousness or who are not engaged in devotional service, what is to be done and what is not to be done must be decided by the injunctions of the Vedas. One should act accordingly without argument. That is called following the principles of the Shastra or the scriptures. Shastra is without the four principal defects that are visible in the conditioned soul. Imperfect senses, propensity for cheating, certainty of committing mistakes, certainty of being illusioned. These four principal defects in conditioned life disqualify one from putting forth the rules and regulations. Therefore, rules and regulations are described in the Shastra bring above these defects are accepted without, or being above these defects are accepted without alteration by all the great saints, acharyas and great souls. In India, there are many parties of spiritual understanding. There are generally classified as two, the personalist and the impersonalist. Both of them, however, lead their lives according to the principle of the Vedas. Now, without following the rules of the scriptures, one cannot elevate himself to the perfectional stage. One who actually therefore understands the purport of the Shastras is considered fortunate. In human society, aversions to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all fall downs. That is the greatest offense of human life. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of the threefold miseries. This material energy is constituted by the three modes of material nature. One has to raise himself to at least to the mode of goodness. Before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened. Without raising oneself to the standard of the mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the cause of demoniac life. Those in the mode of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy man, deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They disobey the orders of the instructions of the spiritual master. They do not care for the rules and regulations of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted. They manufacture their own way of elevation. They these are some of the defects of the human society which lead to the demoniac status of life. If, however, one is able to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher state, then one's life becomes successful. So now this is quite beautiful. The interesting point or the amazing point here is that you see, Srila Prabhupada is telling, Srila Prabhupada is telling the whole point is that, you see, now we're trying to understand that material life, the characteristic of material life is uncertainty. Material life is always uncertain, and because of this uncertainty, one actually takes shelter of or one actually keeps on progressing further and further towards the lag, is it not? So why the roadway to lag is or the roadway to hell is traversed? Because there is uncertainty in this world. The person keeps moving forward and forward, to try to understand that, okay, let me get some certainty. So on the material roadways, there is going to be absolute uncertainty. That is the nature of this material world. Therefore there is no satiation. Therefore, there is no satiation. A person goes on and on and on. Whatever, there is no certainty at any stage of life. The material life is like that, is it? At any stage of life, there is no certainty, actually. So, the person is so that is material life. Then the point which comes is that, whereas if we understand, what Prabhupada is talking about, what the Lord is talking about is, when the Lord is talking about Shastra, the Lord is talking about, certain roadways having certainty. Why should we follow the Shastras? The Shastras are, offering us certainty. So the material ground things are not certain. The Shastric principles are certain, is it not? So now the point which comes is that which is uncertain, why to waste one's life in those trajectories where we don't know that our living conditions are going to be satisfied, what we want is going to be satisfied or not. Better to follow the trajectories which are certain. So certainty is an important principle, is it not? Sense gratification gives uncertainty. Sense control gives certainty, is it not? This is the point. So therefore, the aspect what has to be understood is that let me devote my time for at least let me devote my time at least for certain algorithms, is it not? Rather than hovering around on the plane of imagination, intoxication, is it not? On the whimsical plane. So therefore, actually, we commit a big mistake when we offer some material prerequisites to our Sharanagati. Because when we offer some material prerequisites, that okay, let this happen, then I will be able to surrender very nicely to Krishna. Let that happen, then I will be able to surrender very nicely to Krishna. But the problem with material world is that whether it happens or doesn't happen, we will remain at the same place still. Because if that happens, then we will understand that okay, this was not the ultimate thing which should have happened. The next thing should happen now. The next thing should happen now. And if it doesn't happen, anyways, it doesn't happen. It didn't happen. So on the material ground, we are always going to remain incomplete. That is why you see a whole life gets short circuited, just waiting for material prerequisites to fulfill. Krishna is telling here, material prerequisites are not going to be fulfilled. Material ground is an uncertain ground. So what should I do? Get up in the morning, do a nice morning program, you know, then devote your time to, to Navidam. Is it not? Yeah. So you do sadhana, you do Vaishnava Seva, you do Nam Sankirtan, you know, that is what you do. If you want to do something else, we can try a little bit, here and there. If you don't want to do anything else, this is good enough. Is it not? Like that. That's the point. Better do what is certain than crying about what is uncertain. Is it not? That's the point. That's the point. So what we have is very important, like that. So at least Krishna consciousness is certain. Better let us finish that. Is it not? Let us finish that. No? Let's complete. Let's focus on Krishna consciousness. This is the direct injunction which is being spoken here. That's a direct meaning of, okay, applying the shastras, acting on the platform of the shastras. So that is certain. Is it? Similarly, sometimes actually devotees, like now this principle can be applied at one level up also. Direct service, indirect service. Many times devotees, like they try to come up with, say, an innovation or indirect service, or so innovation is sometimes complex. It takes time to fit it. It takes time to do, like that. So now the point which comes is that the same principle is applied. What is direct and what is clear, that should be done. And along with that, one can try some indirect thing, is it not? Or some complicated thing or some innovation may or may not click, but what is direct, that will click. So what is the most direct thing to preach, say, for example, Prabhupada told Sudama Swami, you hire what is that? You hire a shop, you sit in that shop, with the garage open or the gate open, like that, and you just chant and you just sing all day. That's what you do. And somebody comes, you could speak to them about Gita, is it not? That's what Prabhupada told to Sudama Swami, And Japan preaching took place very nicely. And the Prabhupada did not even hire a shop, Prabhupada sat in a park, is it not? So Krishna consciousness, if you don't understand how to preach, then then we just, there is a straight way, is it not? And it works, is it not? And it just works like that. That's the whole point. And it just works. Like I remember in 2002, and devotees from Calcutta, they were wondering how to preach in IIT KGP. So they thought, okay, let's put a book table, luckily enough, that time IIT KGP was arranging a book exhibition. So they came, they showed their books to whatever concerned authorities, so they agreed. So they put a book table here. So when you don't understand what to do, Prabhupada has given us what to do. Is it not? So distribute books. Is it not? So sometimes we say that, okay, let there be a college, let there be the voice club inside the college. After the voice club is formulated, the college is formulated, then the hostel access is there, like that, and then we'll start preaching, no. So many times, sometimes we would go to some yoga centers, and Raj Shampoo will call everyone and say, okay, all of you stand, how many MMCs you are doing, how many MMCs you are doing, everyone is doing, how many. And people say, no college here, nothing is there. No, Raj Shampoo said, no college is there, what? You take a table, you take books, and you stand, do book distribution. Whoever takes books, take their numbers, call them in the weekend for the program. That's preaching. So this is the point. That sometimes, sometimes some direct, so sometimes, innovation, complication, things won't work. I remember in IIM preaching, actually, we were there in Bangalore, and Raj Shampoo was very much interested that IIM preaching should take place. And I tried to dodge away from it because devotees have glorified IIM preaching a lot. but dry shampoo was too strong on that. Means I could understand his desire was very serious. So we tried it out, like that. Now we were thinking, okay, I am, how to preach, maybe we have to make some management seminar, Gita management, this, that. Actually, while preaching in IIM to these IIM people and all that, I realized that, nothing is required. Because the moment you speak management, their minds are already blown up by that, So then they will take you on a different trajectory, The moment you speak, yeah, the moment you speak management, you start speaking and you see where they will take you, And from there to jump to Krishna consciousness, and I'm only wondering where am I landed in? They take you to a no man's island, here and there, because their mindsets are flared enough. Most of them are voracious readers and they are social buffs, socializers, and you know so what has to be given to them, what has to be given? So I realized the preaching strategy has to be very straight. What is preaching strategy? You go and start with kirtans, बैठ जाओ ताली बजाओ, is it not? Yeah. And then you directly speak about Krishna consciousness, I felt we should directly speak from Gita, Bhagavatam, directly. Nothing else is required, to these fellows. The moment you speak here and there, you see where they will take you, like that. Because, so the point is that Krishna consciousness has to work. So what we know, we should do. And what we don't know, we can give some portion of time to it. Now, this is for service. We can give some portion of time to it. But it should never be at the cost of what we know, is it not? Like that. This is the point, actually. This is the point. So that way, that's the idea. That is the point. Is it not? So, so just like in our preaching also, that sometimes it is said, okay, should we make a club? Should we do activities in the club? Everything we can do. If we have extra time after mainstream preaching, is it not? What is our mainstream preaching? You speak about Gita, you introduce chanting, you introduce people to morning program, then you help them a bit how to settle their lives, so that they can follow morning program, and reinstate them in association of devotees, leading a pure life. That's our mainstream preaching, is it not? Now, additionally, one wants to make a club in the college, do some Prerna festivals, this, that. That's additional. That's all fine. But the main thing should remain the main thing. So the Shastric instructions are like that. This is an interesting point, and this is an interesting principle which has to be applied. So we are doing an add-on, that's fine, in services. But what we know should be very nicely done, is it not? Should be very nicely done. Should be very nicely done. So we have seen, so like one may say, okay, my services I am doing, so for any kind of service focus, our straight things should be the main focus always. Like book distribution, main focus. Like our Gita course, main focus, is it not? We call Gita course a device, that's fine. It's again same Gita course. This is the main focus, like that. And we see all senior devotees have shown this example. Like say Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Now he was preaching to the Nobel laureates, but he had done a lot of. He had Maharaj has done morning, evening. He would take katha, is it not? Pandal programs, katha programs, preaching programs, is it not? Like that. Now Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj writes a lot of books, but not at the cost of preaching. Morning, evening he's preaching. In between he writes books. Is it not? That way. So similarly, some devotees, senior devotees, they are raising, say, farm community and everything. But then that is not at the cost of preaching, is it not? Because all of those ventures are there to add on to preaching. So mainstream preaching never stopped. So it's the same point. What is clear should be done much more than what is not clear. When it comes to service, and Maya is completely unclear. So Maya's trajectory is one should embark upon with great caution, and very small food and see, oh, am I stable or not, like that. Then maybe a little more food, like that. That's why the Shastra has to be followed very nicely. Yes.
Exactly. Until you come to the mode of goodness, pathway for understanding the Supreme Lord is not open. Exactly. If you don't come to the goodness, then the gate is not only open.
Yeah.
और हमारा जो मटेरियलिस्टिक एजुकेशन है तो हमको भर भर के पैशन और इग्नोरेंस देता है
Yes.
उस पैशन और इग्नोरेंस से मटेरियलिस्टिक एजुकेशन से गुडनेस फिर अंडरस्टैंडिंग शुरू हुई यानी कि जब हमको शायद वो भक्ति जैसा लग रहा है और वो भक्ति जैसा चीज हो नहीं रहा है फिर वो गुडनेस में आएगा तो मतलब इसको कैसे समझे फिर फर्स्ट में क्या है अंडरस्टैंडिंग तो तब तक नहीं होगी जब तक गुडनेस नहीं आती शुरुआत ही नहीं होती ह्यूमन सोसाइटी aversion to the principles of understanding the supreme personality of Godhead fall down. Aversion to the understanding of aversion to the principles of understanding. तो ये मतलब शास्त्र में भी उत्तरित है fall down है ना? So that is the greatest offense.
Yeah. Therefore, engagement in devotional service. Yes. We are bombarded with passion and ignorance. That is why we have to understand that I cannot afford to be not to miss the morning program. I cannot afford to miss the Sankirtan, the association of devotees. I cannot afford because we have a lot of epidemic all around actually. Therefore, we have to be very strongly reinstated in association of devotees. Just like when the first wave of COVID came, people were in so much horror that nobody was stepping out of their houses. Is it not? Initial first time when the wave came, is it? We also did not move out for 3.5 months. We didn't even bring vegetables. We were only subsisting on cereals for 3.5 months with all our children. So the point was that there was so much of horror and terror, like that. Similarly, one should be fearful of Maya. So to that degree, we have to take shelter of the association of devotees. But let me take shelter of devotees. Let me take shelter of Sankirtan in that way to protect ourselves. Yes. So engagement in Krishna consciousness will lift us from passion and ignorance. We don't have to do so. The Krishna consciousness includes mode of goodness, like that.
More and more engagement in KC. Part-time KC will not bring us to pure.
Yes.
But like we are so much like we are postponing our KC that full KC थोड़े दिन बाद करेंगे ना full थोड़े दिन बाद भी आता ही नहीं.
Yes.
तो हम वही है हम भक्ति को शौक अब्जॉर्बर की जैसे लेते हैं किसी के दिखता है थोड़ा वाला है बट मेन लाइफ कुछ और बना.
True.
तो फिर इसी वजह से जो फर्स्ट जनरेशन से उन्होंने प्रभुपाद को पूरा डेडिकेट किया.
Yes.
लेकिन हम आउटसाइडर हैं सिर्फ कृष्ण को ये यहाँ पे बात
Yes. Yes.
उसको सुधारने के लिए हमको अपना मटेरियल कम करना पड़ेगा वो पैशन तब हम रेडियो.
Yes. True. True. So the first point in following is not being averse. If we develop aversion or if we reject the principles of the Shastras, then it's a very great damage to ourselves. So if one